get to Rashod Bateman first, Baltimore Ravens wide receiver. Willie Snead, he's gone. Sure, only 48 targets. I'll be quick and I'll throw it over to you guys. I still see Andrews being the number one target on this team. Last year, he missed 2 games and still had 88 targets. Hollywood Brown had 100 targets. They don't throw the ball a lot. Can Jackson improve on his passing ability? That's a question mark. And because of that, Bateman is Bateman. He looks good. And then he landed on the Baltimore Ravens. And you just kind of wonder, how far are you willing to, take a step or take a stab at a guy like Bateman in redrafts? He's probably a flyer at best. And then in Dynasty, obviously, there's a lot of other things to consider. Jacob, I'll hand this one over to you first.
I look, I get where the troubles come for with Lamar Jackson's passing. But I think I disagree with you, man. I think this guy, look, Andrew's going to be the number one target on the team, but Rashod Bateman's going to be the number one wide receiver targeted in this offense, and he'll be the number one wide receiver statistically and fantasy wise, because Marquise Hollywood Brown, he's a great number 2 or a great number 3. He's not meant to be a number 1 guy. This is the guy they drafted to be their number 1 wide receiver, and I don't think they're going to force the issue, but I think they're going to make a point to get him involved. And they tried to get, they tried to get Juju Smith-Schuster. They added Sammy Watkins, but I just think Rashod Bateman, the draft capital, this is probably one of their biggest needs on their team, and they're addressing it. And he's like the prototypical wide receiver 1 type of player. So I'm actually very hyped about Rashod Bateman, and I'll gladly draft him if he falls to me, if you guys don't draft him.
So you said, Mark Andrews number 1 in targets, but Rashod Bateman number 1 wide receiver in Baltimore. Hollywood Brown, obviously you think he's better. He's a better prospect. Hollywood Brown finished highest was last year, actually, and he finished as the wide receiver 34, which puts him in, wide receiver 3 range. Pretty serviceable. So do you think Bateman can crack that top 35 then?
So that was Baltimore Marquise's second or third year?
I think that was his third year.
Look, I don't think Bateman's going to be top 30 his rookie year, but so Marquise Hollywood Brown finished top 34 in his third year. So it's tough, but I do think he's going to outperform Marquise Brown for sure.
Sure. So if he can replicate what Marquise Brown did last year, he could be top 35. He just kind of overtakes and gets the workload that Brown got last year.
I could see that. I just think, what are you working on if you're Lamar Jackson? What are the coaches?
You got to throw the freaking ball, man.
Exactly. So I'm believing that they are working on that, and hopefully it can improve a little bit. He has a career passer rating of 99, which isn't terrible. It's actually really good, but
because he doesn't throw that off,
volume isn't high is the problem.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. He's accurate, but he doesn't get the opportunity to throw the ball a lot. But who needs it? Because he runs, and that's why you love him for fantasy. Damon, Joe, any thoughts?
I like Bateman because I feel like the team is trying to be a more balanced offense, so teams just don't stack the box on first and second down on them because they know they're going to try and run the ball. And did they draft a guard or something? They drafted a guard, no?
They sure did.
Yeah, so that's going to give him more time to stay in the pocket and make some throws. So I personally like him for redraft more than Waddle.
And they also
not Dynasty.
They also signed now we're making us
Sammy
look bad.
Watkins?
No, well, they signed Sammy Watkins, but they signed the guard from Kansas City. They stole him from Kansas City.
I thought they traded
No,
the
it was
guard
the
to
other way
Kansas City.
around.
No. I'm sorry, from Pittsburgh. They signed. They signed within the division. They signed the guard. What's his name? Something Villanueva, I think. They signed the guard, and then he came out on Twitter and basically threw shade at the wide receiving core of Pittsburgh because he was like, "I'd rather be behind,
it was the Pittsburgh,
guards and stuff in the NFL. They want to protect their passer and they want to create running lanes. They don't really care about wide receivers, obviously, because they're protecting the quarterback. But that makes sense. But he came out and said something along the lines of, "I'd rather play for a team who runs the ball hard than play for a team whose players make TikToks all day." And he was taking a hit at Juju. And Claypool, all of them. Claypool, Juju, Deontay Johnson, they're all just TikTok stars now. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Joe.
Guys, how many wide receivers do we have to watch this team draft before we just kind of get it? So we kind of realize, like, listen, it doesn't matter who's the wide receiver. Like, if you're not, if you don't throw the ball, you're not going to have success. And we saw it with Marquise Brown. We saw it with Miles Boykin. We saw it with Devin Duvernay. You mentioned that I can't even remember his name because he's irrelevant, is gone, and that's only 40 targets. Well, Sammy Watkins is there. And Sammy Watkins, say what you want about him. There's a reason the guy keeps getting paid. They like him. Rashod Bateman, Marquise, and now they drafted Tylan Wallace too. There's a lot of guys. And listen, maybe one of these guys is going to be so damn good that it doesn't matter. You give him 6 targets a game and he's going to make something out of it. But I don't want to take that risk. Not until I see it. So listen.
But don't you think that them getting 2 receivers and then bolstering the O-line means that they're trying to change?
Yeah, of course. The 49ers wanted to change last year too, and then injuries happened, and we end up running the ball because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Teams that run the ball well, they continue to run the ball.
Continue to run the ball. I mean, Ravens one of the best running the football teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think Dobbins and Gus Edwards were averaging like over 4.5 a game.
I don't hate taking a chance on him in Dynasty, but I may get burned, but I'm not touching him in any redraft leagues no matter what. And like I said, I may get burned. He may fall to me in the 11th round, and I'll be kicking myself that I didn't take a chance on the guy. Yeah. But like I see at least 4 or 5 other rookies that we haven't even talked about that I would rather just gamble on than take him, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about with the next couple of guys here, except for one. But and that's what you're going to see. A lot of these guys are going to be in the later rounds of your draft, and you're going to be faced with a situation. Do I want the promise of a young rookie, or do I want more of a solid option? And those solid options are going to be guys, they don't look appetizing, but they're serviceable because they have a track record.